Gen Z wastes their money, they're always glued to screens, they spend like there's no tomorrow, they're chasing one trend after the other. You've heard it and you've probably said it too. But what if numbers tell a completely different story? In this video, we're diving deep into the financial lives of Gen Z in India, how they earn, save, invest, spend, and compare that with older generations using real data. Get ready to bust some stereotypes. Hello everyone, I'm Avni. Welcome to the next big thing. Let's start with earning. Gen Z, born between 1997 and 2012, are entering into a fast evolving workforce. They have access to booming sectors like IT, AI, cybersecurity, industries which barely existed when millennials entered the workforce. Today, 38% of Gen Z is employed in tech. Entrepreneurship is big too. About 24% of Gen Z plan to start their own ventures within the first 5 years of entering the workforce. They aren't climbing the corporate ladder, they're building their own escalators, and often from home in pajamas. Entry-level salaries are also high in nominal terms. Today, a software engineer in a top tech firm can earn about 12 to 33 lakhs annually, higher than about 8 to 20 lakhs for the millennials back in 2015. But it's not all smooth sailing. According to data released by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, youth unemployment sits at about 13.8% for people between 15 to 29 years of age, which is nearly double the national average. Surprisingly, unemployment rate for educated youth is 6 times more than the unemployment rate for people without secondary education. Still, Gen Z is adapting. They prioritize flexible working hours over salaries and have side hustles or freelance gigs, a trend that older generations did not catch early on. In short, while the path is challenging, Gen Z is finding their own ways to earn. In tech, on their own terms, and with multiple income streams. Time to talk savings and investments. If you think Gen Z is financially reckless, think again. 73% of Gen Zs save at least 30% of their monthly income, which is higher than what most financial advisors recommend. Compare that with millennials who delayed savings for travel and were often burdened with debt, or with Gen X, who were often underprepared for financial emergencies even with being conservative to a fault. Gen Z stand out with their debt-averse mindset. They try to fund expenses like education or gadgets with their savings instead of credit, setting them apart from older generations who often leaned on credit. When it comes to investment, they use fintech apps, they track the markets digitally, and self-educate using platforms that their parents never had. They also start early. About 35% of them begin before the age of 25. A recent NSE report suggests more than 40% of investors in the stock market are now under the age of 30. And while the stereotype says that they're obsessed with cryptocurrency, most Gen Zs often prefer safer or moderately safe investment assets like FDs or stocks and equity. To sum up, Gen Z portfolios are digital, diversified, and more risk friendly compared to millennials who try to balance risk and growth, or Gen X or boomers who are often more conservative and prefer fixed income and tangible assets. None of them are right or wrong, and usually their preferences are more or less a product of their circumstances. Now let's talk spending. Not just what they spend on, but also how they fund their lifestyles. Gen Z spend about 50 to 60% of their income, saving up to 30%. Financial planning is very intentional, unlike millennials who used to live a earn and spend life in their early years. So, where does the money go? Subscriptions. Netflix, gym memberships, fitness apps, courses, cloud storage, 500 here, 1000 there, it adds up pretty fast. Convenience. A 200 or 300 rupee Blinkit order when probably a 50 rupees Sabzi market run could do. Sure, spending 300 on a Blinkit order when you just need a few lemons is excessive. But well, when life gives Gen Z lemons, they can at least make lemonade under 15 minutes. And aesthetics. 3000 rupees sneakers over 600 or 1000 rupees shoes. Because #vibe check. Still, there's a method to this madness. Most of them avoid EMI traps. They use UPI, direct debit, or digital wallets. About 35% rely on families for big expenses like rent, education, weddings, and a lot of them have side gigs to cover their expenses. Sure, there is FOMO spending. Like about 72% of Gen Z buy things because a social media influencer said it was good. Or festivals and sales, which trigger impulse buying due to limited time offers or deals. Or some of them also put dent in their savings to attend high demand concerts like Coldplay because they view that as a once in a lifetime opportunity or because of social media validation. But compare that with millennials' EMI sofas, foreign trips, or pub hopping weekends, or Gen X's car loans or hoarding gold, or boomers' underconsumption and FD only portfolios. Gen Z's waste is often more visible but not necessarily more damaging. So, what's the verdict? Is Gen Z irresponsible with their money? The data says no. Every generation thinks the next one is ruining everything. Boomers said Gen X was lazy, disengaged, or too cynical to succeed. Gen X mocked millennials as entitled, job hopping snowflakes who wanted trophies for participation. And now it's the millennials' turn to roll their eyes at Gen Z, saying they're addicted to their screens or spend too much money on influencers or can't commit to anything. But here's the truth. Each generation has to adapt to their own economic reality, and for Gen Z, that means rising tuition and living costs, a volatile job market, soaring real estate and gold prices, pressure of a hyper digital world, a distrust in higher education, or better chances at inheriting a property, or just general higher support from parents because of smaller family sizes. And they're adapting by earning in innovative ways, saving early and more, investing smarter, and spending differently. Not because they're reckless, but because the rules of the game have changed. Are there red flags? Sure. Influencer hype, over convenience, short term dopamine buys. But older generations had their own flaws too. Some overspent, some underinvested, some took no risk at all. What makes Gen Z unique is awareness. They're data driven, tech savvy, and unafraid to challenge old financial norms. If this video changed your view on Gen Z, do hit the like button and share it with somebody who still thinks they're broke and clueless. Sources for all the data that I've presented in the video today are in the description box. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. We have more exciting content coming your way. So thanks for watching and see you in the next one.